Shadow of the Colossus, Demon's Souls, Uncharted Remastered, among others. Bluepoint was an excellent developer, but greed, like bad decisions of the new Sony/PlayStation, always ends up destroying what's good. Sadly, Sony PlayStation shut down Bluepoint Games, a video game development studio that, in my opinion, had a lot of talent. Bluepoint was known as experts in making game remakes of exceptional quality. For example, the remake of Shadow of the Colossus, the remake of Demon's Souls, the remake of the Uncharted trilogy, and the remasters of the God of War trilogy, as well as Gravity Rush. I can't understand the illogical reasons Sony had for closing this studio, but it's common knowledge that PlayStation has forgotten the essence that made it great. And these two gentlemen and their team have done great damage to that legendary company. After hearing the news, I started thinking about which games Bluepoint could have remade. And well, there were many ideas, but I'll just mention 10 of them. The first is the remake of remakes that I'm not the only one who would love to see. I'm talking about Bloodborne. This action role-playing game by From Software was released in 2015 for the PlayStation 4. Bloodborne stood out a lot. Aside from its trademark difficulty from the studio From Software, the setting of the devastated Gothic city in the Victorian era left a lasting impression on players. I think Bluepoint will have done a great job with the original material. The game will sell like hotcakes. After the overwhelming success of the Shadow of the Colossus remake, I thought Bluepoint could do another remake of a game from the now defunct Sony Japan studio. I'm talking about Ico, a game by the same director as Shadow of the Colossus, Fumito Ueda. Ico is an action-adventure game from 2001, released for the PlayStation 2. It uses a minimalist art style and a simple story. Boy meets girl. Players control Ico, a boy born with horns who is imprisoned in an abandoned castle. There, he meets Jorda, a girl he must help escape. I would have loved to play this adventure with modern graphics and mechanics, oh yeah. A game I really enjoyed playing as a kid on the original PlayStation. I'm talking about Ape Escape. Will be perfect in a 2026, a year when light and fun games are sorely needed. Ape Escape is a platform game from 1999, released for the PlayStation 1. The game tells the story of Spectre, an ape who develops superhuman intelligence and begins to wreak havoc across time. Hey, now that I mention it, it reminds me of the Planet of the Apes movies. Players control Spike, a young assistant to a scientist. Very similar to the situation in the Back to the Future films with Doc Brown and Marty McFly. He must capture the apes using various unusual gadgets. This game was very interesting at the time due to its gameplay, which focuses on using both joysticks on a controller. A game that everyone could enjoy in 2026, I'm pretty sure about it. The James Bond of the PlayStation, Gabriel Logan, from Siphon Filter. A third-person shooter released in 1999 for the PlayStation 1. If the Nintendo 64 had GoldenEye, the PlayStation had Siphon Filter, a spy game that differed from the Metal Gear Solid in that it was more action-oriented and focused on shooting. Players control Agent Logan, who must travel the world to capture a German terrorist. I remember the music, along with the frenetic action, was one of the strengths of this video game. A remake of this game will be very welcome, as the narrative was highly acclaimed at the time. I didn't have the opportunity to play this game when it was first released, but I've been waiting for Sony to finally decide to make a remake or a new installment in this saga, which had 3 main entries. Resistance: Fall of Man is a first-person shooter from 2006, released for the PlayStation 3. Players control Sergeant Hale in 1951 in an alternate universe, where Earth is under attack by an alien race. It combines storylines from the Saving Private Ryan and Edge of Tomorrow films. It's a franchise I don't understand why Sony hasn't dusted off from oblivion. A remake wouldn't be a crazy idea at all. One of my favorite games, especially the 2 PlayStation 3 installments. I'm talking about Killzone. Inspired by World War II conflicts with a futuristic setting, the first Killzone game came out for the PlayStation 1, but with the sequel on the PlayStation 3, Killzone became a masterpiece for me. A remake of the original trilogy will be perfect, since Killzone had a 4th installment that, in my humble opinion, was quite mediocre in its story, as it strayed far from the aura cultivated by the previous installments. A remake in this era where its competitors in the same genre are struggling like Call of Duty and Halo, among others, will delight the fans of the first-person shooters. This video game captivated me with its cinematics as well as its inspiration from the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion. Zone of Enders is a hack-and-slash action game released in 2001 for the PlayStation 2. Set in space using giant robots or mechas, players control Leo, a young man who pilots the mecha Yehudi. Leo must use Yehudi to defend civilians from the Baram military forces. It garnered attention for its fluid combat also. A remake of this game would have been perfect, especially given the announcement of the new Evangelion anime. Another missed opportunity by Sony. The first 2 installments of Infamous were glorious. This open-world action-adventure game was released in 2009 for the PlayStation 3. The player controls Cole, a young bicycle messenger who gains electrical powers after an explosion. The player can use Cole for good or for evil, a very interesting progression system for its time. A remake would have been excellent, as these types of games are always successful on PlayStation consoles, and seeing Cole with modern graphics would have been wonderful. I don't understand why Square Enix hasn't done more with this amazing game. I'm talking about Vagrant Story, an action RPG from 2000 for the PlayStation 1. What impressed me most about this game was its visual design by Hiroshi Minagawa and Akihiko Yoshida. Players control Ashley in a fantasy world called Ivalice. Ashley is an agent who has to clear a murder accusation he didn't commit. Just imagine this style of character design in modern graphics will have made a remake of this game absolutely stunning. In my opinion, Sony no longer takes risks by greenlighting outlandish ideas for video games. A game where you fight with heavily armed vehicles in an arena where the winner is the last one standing. That game was actually made in 1995 for the original PlayStation. I'm talking about Twisted Metal, a vehicular combat game where players can choose from 12 vehicles with their unique characters to fight in the life or death battles. It would have made sense to release a Twisted Metal remake, given that the TV series based on the game has been a complete success. Special mention for the Metal Gear Solid on the original PlayStation. I didn't include it in the top 10 because I think Konami, after seeing the success for their Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, as well as the Silent Hill 2 remake, is surely working on a remake of my all-time favorite game. That's for sure. Finally, I want to thank the members of Bluepoint Games for their games, and I hope that the 70 employees who were laid off by Sony when the studio closed find employment as soon as possible. Good luck and good riddance. And I just want to say to the higher-ups at Sony/PlayStation, don't forget your roots just to chase trends. Don't forget the players who supported you from the beginning. Okie dokie, thanks a lot for your time. I wish you all the best in life and most importantly, infinite health. Goodbye.
Hey, listen!